Okay, pretty much this is our webinar basically about a MSc Distance Learning Analytical Science course, and pretty much we're going to have a look at basically what it consists of, and then fundamentally where this can actually improve your skills base. So just to introduce myself, I am Phil Riby. I'm the course director for the MSc Distance Learning. Pretty much I'm a reader in analytical chemistry here at the University of Manchester, and I'm actually by training an atomic spectroscopist, but I also basically get myself involved in a number of different aspects of chromatography. Before that, I used to teach analytical chemistry in the School of Pharmacy at Liverpool John Moores University. And I started my career as a lecturer basically in analytical chemistry at the University of Greenwich, and I originated basically having done work there basically in the Arthur Vogel laboratory. I did a postdoc basically in the United States Department of Agriculture in Beltsville in Washington, and pretty much we did instrument development there, so novel plasmas as an emission source for determination of trace elements in food products. And I did my PhD basically under the supervision of Steve Haswell, basically, who was at Greenwich, and we were looking at the determination of arsenic in nickel-based alloys, specifically to do with the turbine blades and pretty much jet engines. So pretty much what we've actually got in the program that we're going to be talking about is we're looking at a combination of academic excellence with explicit development of transferable skills. Okay, and these are extremely important basically for the development of a career in analytical science. So it's really a question of basically knowing about the individual techniques, where they can be used and what they can be used for, and what some of the issues with them are. So the program itself will provide high quality training and development of analytical skills, particularly for those in industries such as environment, clinical, pharmaceutical, chemical, food production, petrochemical, materials, and many others. Analytical basically gets used in so many areas these days. It's very difficult to make a list of all of the areas that we would cover, but you will see that through some of the examples that basically we'll have during the course. So it also provides a practical approach to the handling of real data. So a number of the problems that you're going to be presented with basically are based on data that we've actually gained in the laboratory, and we've got video practicals, and obviously there's a hands-on project. So the course is divided up into a number of units. And we have 4 mandatory units, i.e. you have to do these particular units. And so fundamentally they are fundamentals of analytical science, okay, and that's my unit. Separation science, which is Professor Locklier's unit. Mass spectrometry, which is Professor Barron's unit. And then I come back with Professor Horn to basically look at atomic and molecular spectroscopies, and these are mandatory units. You have to do them. Having done these 4 units, then you have the option basically to look at a choice, and at the moment basically we have 4 units which you can choose from. You only have to choose 2 of them, so you can do magnetic resonance, and that's effectively run by my colleagues Matthias and my colleague Eric McGuinness, and pretty much our X-ray techniques unit, which is run basically by Mike Baker, and we have a radiochemical and environmental methods unit and a chemometrics unit, okay, and you can choose 2 from those 4. So what's actually going to, what the courses are basically aimed at is producing, as we've said, high quality graduates. You develop the technical skills you need to progress into a more senior role. So often what happens basically in analytical is people will join, have a specialist area that they get involved with, and then they work their way up into section heads and manage basically staff under them. The graduates will be equipped with the technical skills and knowledge to develop into a multifaceted analytical scientist. That's somebody who actually knows where the techniques need to be used, how they need to be used, and where the different applications are. So effectively, it's a kind of problem-solving environment, and problem solving is at the heart of analytical science, and it's something that many employers ask for, problem solving capability, and these types of courses basically lend themselves to this particular type of acquisition of skills. So as we said, we're broken down into a number of credits. Okay, so in order to graduate, you need to get 180 credits. Okay, so we've got 4 mandatory units, which are effectively 20 credits each. You then get to choose 2 of the option units, which again are 20 credits each. And then we have a 60 credit based research project. Okay, and that pretty much will give you the 180 credits necessarily to graduate at MSc. You can effectively graduate earlier, but either with PG Cert or PG Dip. Okay, and if you have any issues about those, then please let me know. The minimum time frame we're actually talking about is 24 months. Normally, we'd be looking at 24 to 36 months to give some flexibility into the system. We can go slightly longer than that. Okay, obviously, sometimes things happen basically in terms of actually progress within the course, and obviously we're open to discussions about what you need as a student in order to actually complete the actual work necessary. So each unit runs over 10 weeks with a nominal 15 hours a week of work for the student, and they typically consist of some of the things that you can see in front of you now. Obviously, different units use slightly different techniques, basically because of the material that's actually present. So to a certain extent, okay, this is a bit flexible, but to give you a general idea of how we work, okay, there's an overview of the material presenting the learning objectives of the week. There's about 3 hours of student activity in the form of video lectures and practicals. Approximately 4 hours of exercises, approximately 2 hours of discussion. Okay, we encourage discussion within the student body. Okay, there are facilities basically to allow you to interact with each other, so you're not a student sat remotely at a computer. Okay, you will get to interact with the other students who are taking part in the course, and obviously with the tutors. Okay, so pretty much you can get ask questions, get feedback, those kind of things. There'll be approximately 2 hours of online tutorials, okay, and that's in the form of a kind of video conference. Okay, so we may set you some work to have a look at, something to have a go at, and then we have a forum in which you can actually discuss what you've come up with, and basically see what other students may have come up with, and have a general discussion about what we think is the most appropriate action for the particular task that you've been set. So as we said, there are taught units. Okay, so the taught units are 20 credits, which approximates to about 200 hours of study. The research-based project is 60 credits, which approximates to about 600 hours of study. For each taught unit, it's 10 weeks in total, and there's approximately 8 weeks of taught material, and then some time to work on the actual assessment. So pretty much, yeah, typically we'd have kind of 2 assessments. So there's time built in within there basically for you to work on the assessments that you've got. So the taught unit assessments are undertaken as coursework. So pretty much they may include things like contributions to discussion boards, short presentations, and as we've already said, problem-solving based reports. Assessment will be tailored to the activities associated with each unit. So pretty much, okay, obviously some things lend themselves to particular formats and others to other different formats. And you can have a look basically and see which one. So we might have things like spectral interpretation and things like that. So the taught units are 100% coursework. It's 100% online submission. There are no written examinations, but there may be some online tests. Okay, and you'll get a combination of essays, reports, participation in a blog or a wiki. Okay, and typically there are 2 assessments for each unit. Okay, what we will also do is allow you to have a go at an assessment, something similar, to see how you get on before you take the official assessed coursework. Okay, so for the full MSc qualification, you will carry out a research-related project in one of the analytical areas, which will be based on your work location or through the University of Manchester. So those based in an industry environment may carry out the project with a joint supervision team made up of an academic member of staff from Manchester and an industrial supervisor. If you're in the position basically where you're not currently based in the analytical sciences area, you can opt to attend the University of Manchester to carry out the project. Obviously, there are lots of different questions that originate basically from discussions of projects, and everybody's situation is slightly different. So if you have something you'd like to discuss, okay, you're more than welcome to contact me. And we can discuss the individual cases on a case-by-case basis. So, typical students that we would have, students are typically working in laboratory areas, such as in chemistry, analytical sciences, pharmaceuticals, food production, clinical industries, and so on. As we said already, analytical is used in a number of different areas. And so, you know, we would be of course, basically aimed at anybody who's dealing with analytical sciences of any description. Taught units are delivered online, and this is unusual for analytical science or analytical chemistry. Pretty much there have been courses before, so this is not the first time that this type of course has existed. The Royal Society of Chemistry used to run the Analytical Chemistry by Open Learning course previously, and this is aiming basically to be a kind of replacement for that. This means you can work while you study, and you fit your study in on your time and around your commitments. And obviously we're aware that as people are working that this will need a certain level of flexibility, and we're quite happy to discuss this with you. You can apply your learning and your practical skills in your research-related project, and that can be something that, if you're in a working environment, that the company itself is interested in investigating. So we have 2 intakes per year, a February intake and a September intake, and hence the webinar. We're obviously coming close to the February intake, so we're just trying to emphasize to everybody that applications basically will close on the 1st of February. Okay, the fee for the entire course, for the entire MSc, okay, is £18,000, and pretty much, okay, this can be paid in instalments. Okay, obviously you may need to discuss this with your company if you're getting this funded by the company. So the academic entry qualifications are an honours degree with a minimum upper second or equivalent in chemistry, okay, but we may consider exceptional applicants with the lower second who've also have research experience or equivalent. As I've said a number of times, basically we appreciate that analytical science material crops up in a number of degrees, and we are quite happy to basically look at material that you have done in other degrees to see if it's related sufficiently basically to get entry into this program. So if it's got significant analytical science content, then we will basically look at that. It's worth bearing in mind that RSC accreditation may not be available in those circumstances, but again, I'm very happy to discuss it with any applicants who basically are interested in coming onto the course. The entry-level requirements, obviously an IELTS score of 6.5, okay, with no less than 5.5 in each subtest, and a TOEFL or IBT 90 overall with no less than 22 in each component. So pretty much, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to basically contact us. We'll be quite happy to discuss anything related to the course. You'll see there that basically you can apply with study online, and initially you'll be basically contacted by Katie, who's in the picture there. Pretty much if you have any direct inquiries basically about projects or anything specifically about the material, then you're more than welcome to actually contact me.
So hello everyone, I'm Katie. So you're more than welcome to contact me via that email, but we have had a few questions from people that have been listening. So one is, what careers can analytical science masters lead to?
Okay, so pretty much, okay, as I said, we exist in all kinds of different areas and industries. So analytical sciences people basically are employed throughout a number of leading industries. Okay, we have people basically who go into all kinds of different areas, so pretty much either laboratory based, and pretty much people who run equipment, act as experts. They can work for instrument companies as technical specialists. We also have people basically who've literally gone into PR for leading environmental companies. We have a very diverse range of careers that people have gone into.
And some questions about the project. So how long does the project take?
Okay. So pretty much, as you can see, basically it's 3 20-credit sessions basically, which are backed up. So the immediate thing is pretty much, okay, it's going to be of the order of about 6 months or so to do it, okay, in terms of the actual practical work. Obviously, you have to produce a report at the end of it, and that report basically then needs to be written, so you then need to build in time for actually writing the report.
And what type of topics could the project look on?
Well, what we would do is match up the supervision team basically according to what particular areas you might want to go into. So, for instance, okay, with if I take myself as an example, okay, pretty much we'd be looking at things like trace metal analysis, okay, and I do a lot of that in the kind of pharma industry and the environmental industries and things like that. It's really a question of basically what you've got access to or what particularly you're interested in. It's always good to have an interest in a particular project area. So again, if you're working in industry and you have access to particular pieces of kit and your company are interested in developing it, then obviously that would be a good area to do a project in, and we'd match you with a corresponding academic supervisor. Pretty much if you're not in that and you want to come over here, then we can obviously discuss what particular areas we've got available to us, but we have a significant range.
Excellent, and I think that's all the questions that we've had. So if anyone has any further questions, they can send them to studyonline@manchester.ac.uk. If you're interested in sending an application off, then you can download one from our website, and if not, then just send us an email and I can send one out to you as well. But thank you for listening, and I hope we've answered all your questions about analytical science today. So thank you, Phil.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks very much. Bye.